Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another podcast, StreamYard of Women of Influence on Wednesdays. Today, I am so honored to have the one and only lovely Andrea Scott. I've really been looking forward to this interview, Andrea. I know initially that I met your hubby, Nate, in Miami. We were both semifinalists at the Great American Speak Off, and I remember him speaking just so highly of you. Now, you attended the famous Fame High School in New York City. You were a headliner in a musical, and you left college to attend a full-time music career. Then you went on to become the youngest Black woman ever to retire, having achieved the top position in history of a multi-billion-dollar direct sales company. Wow. It's like, I'm so fascinated by you and everything that you've achieved. Andrea, tell us about your journey and how did all of this transpire?
Well, first of all, Jalen, thank you so much for having me as a guest. I'm very excited to be here, and it was so great meeting you in Miami. And congratulations to both yourself and my husband. It was an amazing speak off, and
Thank
got to meet some really great people. So, I feel like I've achieved so much in like a short period of time. But I've always known what I wanted to do as a kid, and I just pursued it. And I was always kind of a risk taker. And so loved music, decided that I was going to Hollywood and I was going to be Andrea C. Okay. That's before Beyonce was born. And so I did go to the High School of Music and Art, like you said, and that was the thing that catapulted me to say, okay, yeah, this is really what I want to do. Went on to become a jazz vocal commercial performance major in college, and in my junior year, I got an opportunity to audition for a show, and I got cast along with a friend of mine, and we went on the road as youngins, and I got an opportunity to sing Dionne Warwick's music, and actually Dionne Warwick came to the show to watch me sing her music, so that was a highlight of that time in my life. And we had a 10-month run for that particular show. And then it was going on to either a cruise ship or a hotel in Vegas. And I decided I wanted to go home, and I really closed the door on the opportunity at that time. And then it's like, what am I going to do now? Right. And that's when an opportunity came to me in direct sales, and I ended up being really good at it. So yeah, that's pretty much my story.
That's awesome. Now, Andrea, are you still singing today?
That's a great question because I actually am. I just started singing with a band and I'm getting paid for it. I mean, I've never stopped singing. I've done mostly uh, praise and worship at church, and I've done some friends' weddings and birthdays and all kinds of things like that. But now I'm actually getting paid for it. So I'm very excited to be singing with a band that is all over Florida. And I think they have different satellites all over the world. And I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. So yes, I am singing.
That's fabulous. Okay, I'm going to have to put you on the spot right now. Give us a little bit of Amazing Grace.
Oh yes, absolutely. All right, let's go.
Oh, let's do it.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
I love it. Amen, sister. That was beautiful. Good
Thank
job. Like
you. Thank
applause
you.
all around, all around.
I love
What
it.
a
Thank you so much.
blessing to have such an amazing voice and be able to sing and get paid for it. Like, That is, I just can't think of anything better. Yeah, obviously that's one of your passions. Now,
Yeah.
when you were successful in your direct sales business, did you incorporate singing in that at all? Or like kind of tell us what you did to be so successful in that career?
So I've always had a heart for women. I've been working with women. I've been a part of women's organizations for as long as I could remember. I In college I pledged a sorority, which is the largest Black Greek letter organization in America and well in the world really because we're worldwide. And so Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, I'm going to give a shout out to my sorority. And then also in church with the singles ministry, women's ministry, and just always working with women. And then I became successful in a 99.9% women's company. And it's a cosmetics company based out of Dallas, Texas. Uh, and I've always just believed that women can do anything because we do it every day, right?
Yeah.
We're doing it all the time. So I think that my love for people just allowed me to be like a wooer. I took a Strength Finders test, and I'm like a wooer, you know. But when you believe in people and you want to see people win, I think that that's just a great combination for building or developing a strong and successful team. So it's all about the other person.
I love it. And that really comes through just listening to you talk. And, obviously I met you in person and you just come across just interested in talking to me and that you cared about me. And thank you, by the way, for being so proactive when I was reaching out to you about the StreamYard and being on my podcast. And thank you so much for, by the way, for being on here again. It's truly a blessing to have you and be able to interview you. So, Andrea, tell us what is next on the horizon for you? What are you working on now?
Oh wow, that's Jalen, you're asking all the right questions at all the right times, okay? So, right now, I have been running from a calling uh, that God has given me, and quite honestly, my husband has been pushing me toward it, and I have been just resisting it and just saying no, no, no. And I think that for any woman that is watching this stream and listening to this podcast, um, there are so many things that we are qualified to do, but we're not empowered to do it if we don't have the confidence in ourselves. And if it
Hmm.
and I was being held back by imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. Will anybody can I really help the people that I really want to help? And so sometimes the enemy gets in your ear and causes that fear and causes you to look inside when honestly it took me a long time to really say yes to God and take up the assignment, which is really helping women to go get past and get through my experience in life. And so the good thing is that God factors in everything. He factors
Mm.
in our procrastination, our disobedience, all of our, fear, all of those things. He factors that in, and he still gets us on the timeline that we need to be because he has the ultimate plan. And so he knew that I would say yes, yes, I'll do it, I'll do it. And so I really have a heart to help women to get past and through um, divorce, widowhood, because there are so many things that women go through between emotional distress, financial distress. They've got the kids, they've got all of these things. Now they're on one income. They feel shame, blame. They lose some kind of social status sometimes because you have couple friends and now you don't have those couple friends anymore, but you're not quite single, but you're not quite. So it's just so many dynamics that women go through, and a lot of times it's just hard pushing past and getting to forgiveness, healing, and wholeness to move on to be able to live and love again. So that's my passion.
Oh, I love it. And thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing the fact that you were running away from your calling and your purpose, what God was calling you to do. And that really resonates with me specifically because I find myself doing the same thing, all of these little voices in my head, and I'm literally like my own worst enemy, right? So the fact that you are able to recognize that and kind of push through it and use the support of your husband and listen to the voice of God and really fulfill your calling and your purpose by working with women. I think that's truly amazing. And so, would you consider yourself to be somewhat of a life coach for women, or how would you describe that?
You know what? I think I'm an experienced coach. So, if you want to call it a life coach, sure. But I have the background, the story, the experience, and the tools to really be able to say, hey, I was there. I know how that feels. I know the pain of rejection. I know how, what it feels like to have this identity, so to speak. And now that's all crumbled and you got to pick yourself up and move on and somewhat recreate yourself. And so I have the experience, the story, the tools, the tips, all of those things. I have the love in my heart for women to be able to help them to push beyond. And there's life beyond divorce and all of these things, a great life. And so, if yeah, a life coach, but definitely a coach for women.
I love that. I love that so much. Now, how does somebody get in contact with you, Miss Andrea?
Yay. Okay. So again, my website, www.andreacscott.com. So that's just my name, Andrea C. Scott. I will not tell you what the C stands for. Okay. It's funny that I use my middle initial and everybody is guessing it. They'll never guess it. That's why I use it. So I'm still asking my mom where did that come from. But uh but anyway, so yeah, AndreaCScott.com. You can find my social media handles. You'll find all kinds of information on me, and I think my email, all kinds of stuff is there.
I love that. So now I'm going to have to take a couple of wild guesses now that you've intrigued me. The C stands for Clarice. Not even close, huh?
Not even close. You will never guess it. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to have to like think on that one and get back to you. Now, I wanted to also ask you, I know that you and your husband, Nate, which I got to meet him, as I mentioned earlier, amazing guy. I don't need to tell you that. But I know that you two work closely together as well to help individuals and families and couples. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So my husband is not just my husband, he's my absolute best friend. And I hired him as a business coach when I was before I retired and I was in my career. And and we spent so much time together that we just became best friends. And less than a year from meeting, we were married. Is that funny? Okay.
Wow.
So go pick up those books, ladies. Okay. Your husband might be the author. I'm kidding. But so because he was my coach and he has an amazing, and you can find his information on my website too, and the book and all of that. His book is called Life is Rich: How to Create Lasting Wealth. And the interesting thing is, Jalen, that I was at the top of the company that I was with, and I was making really great money. I was traveling the world. I was teaching women how to do the same. And when I read his book, I realized that I had a lot of financial illiteracy. Like I didn't really understand money. Like you know how you work and you make money and you know the basic stuff, and then or give it to somebody to invest it, or you spend most of it or whatever you do. But there was so many things that I did not understand until I read his book. And that totally gave me a paradigm shift. And I knew I had to go back and now implement some things to be able to teach these women, which a lot of them were single moms. And they, and for the most part, even married couples, usually it's the man who handles the money and the women just write the checks, right? But just equipping myself to be able to do that. So he also coaches women in not in that area, whether it's business, finances, all of those things. So we make a really good pair in that with my background coupled with his background, we hit him from both sides. So it's the perfect storm.
I love that. Power couple. So, what is one of the most common misconceptions or, the most common thing that people, women in particular, are most illiterate about when it comes to like financial stuff?
So I would say it would be how to make your money make you money. So one thing is entrepreneurship. I think there's a lot of fear in that, a lot of misconception in that, a lot of unknowns in that, because there's so many types of businesses that you can start. But then there are some businesses that are jobs, right? It's just now you just have 100 bosses versus the one, right? Or 100
Right.
paychecks versus one paycheck, right? But you still have to, you're still tied down to wherever it is, your kitchen table or whatever, which is nothing wrong with that. Working from home may be better for some people, but for me, I love freedom and I love being able to be on the beach or travel like you, right? Doing the things exactly what you're doing. And so, what gives you the freedom and flexibility to do that type of thing? So, I think one thing is that understanding that you don't have to quit your job to be an entrepreneur to get started, and wanting women to really understand the benefits, not just the benefits of freedom, time, and all of that, but even the tax benefits, right? The money and stuff. But the other thing I think about is how do you take the money that you have in your savings or whatever it is and have that money now making you money while you're sleeping, whether it's in assets, real estate, you know about that, right?
Yeah.
All of these types of things. My husband made his first million in real estate at the age of 32 by reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rich Man Poor Man. That was actually a series back in the day, like a nighttime soap opera. But Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, he read that book coming out of the army and taught himself how to be a real estate investor. So, having your money make you money by acquiring assets or putting it somewhere where you're making money while you sleep. So you don't have to work for the rest of it.
That is so good. A lot of people, the majority of Americans, unfortunately, are working a 9 to 5 job, so to speak, and paying for someone else's dream, paying for someone else to have that, passive income coming in, right? And they just don't realize or see the potential of, getting out of that rut, so to speak. And I am so happy that I realized, back when, a little bit about my story. I went from barista to millionaire in just under 5 years and got out of that rut and got unstuck from that job and created financial freedom for myself and my family. And so I am also empowered to help teach other women in particular how to create wealth in real estate without using any of their own money, by the way. So we can talk more about that. And I'm like,
Awesome.
yeah,
Absolutely.
we should get together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Andrea, remind me, this is kind of a random question, but where is it that you live again? You and your husband?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville,
Jacksonville. Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
Have you lived there like a long time?
I moved here in 1996 with my ex-husband, and Nate moved here. My husband moved here in 2004. So that I'd never lived in the South a day in my life. I grew up in New York, and I went to college in Philadelphia. And so from there, I met my then husband, got married, and this is where he was living. And so I moved down here, and I've been here ever since. So,
That is awesome. I love it. Yeah, we love Florida. We're coming to Florida in just a couple of months here, so maybe we can get together.
nice,
That would be
nice.
super fun. So,
Yeah.
Andrea, are there any last words of wisdom or advice you would like to put out there to all of the women that are watching this podcast, or men for that matter? I'm sure there are a few men watching right now.
Yeah, I think what I would leave everyone with, male or female, is the thing that my husband has been drilling into my head for as long as we've met, and that is that you are the asset. You are the asset. When I retired from my company, I retired at 52 versus most who retire at 65. And I made the decision to do that because I started thinking about, what do I want the second half of my life to look like? And I didn't want it to look, even though it was great. I am grateful and thankful for the opportunity that I had to influence women and to be able to do the things that I did, earn the money that I earned. And but I knew that God had more for me. Um, so and when leaving, people were like, "Oh, why would you leave? Or why are why are you retiring?" Because it's the position everyone is aspiring to get to. And I did it, right? And because I broke the record, I still hold the record 20 years later of being the youngest Black woman to do it. Thank you. I was able to be in a position to take that retirement with all of my full benefits at 52. And one of the things that I said to some of the folks who asked me is, Mary Kay gave me an opportunity. Did I just say the company name? Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
It gave,
She put it out there.
there you go. It's out there. Gave me the opportunity to develop who I was, but it didn't make me who I was. I always carry the flame. I am the light. I was the light in corporate America. I was the light in Mary Kay. I'm the light wherever I go. God created each and every one of us to be the asset, to be the light, to be the torchbearer, so that we could lead other people to to go from a flicker to a flame, to a
Yes.
burning bush, to a right? Okay, a forest fire. And so just leaving everyone with, you are the asset, you have the goods, you're not just enough, you're more than enough. Step out on faith. In order to get something you've never had, you got to do something you've never done. Sometimes it means leaving yourself, your security. Sometimes it means stepping out on faith, but definitely get yourself in a circle where you have wise counsel. If you believe and if you know that God is calling you to something higher than what you're doing, and please, if you hate what you're doing, do not die a slow death. That's like that, like dead man walking, right? If you're at a job out of necessity but you don't love it, what do you love? And find someone who can help you to flesh out being able to do that and contribute and give to other people. So that's what I believe.
I love that so much. And I know that there are so many women out there who do have those self-limiting beliefs and they don't feel that they are enough, that they're good enough or smart enough or whatever the case may be. And so the fact that you are out there being the light for those women, and not only being the light but showing them that they too can shine and be the light, and they are the asset. They have it within themselves to shine and be whatever it is that they want to be, whether it's a real estate investor or whatever their dream is, to get unstuck and to fulfill God's purpose for them. I love that so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amen, sister. Well, thank you for being you, being who you are. And you just keep shining that light, girl. I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jalen. It was such a great time meeting you. Have fun where you are, you and your hubby. Enjoy life and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so
Thank you, Andrea. And goodbye, Nate. I know you're watching in the background in there
much.
somewhere. God bless you guys.
Thank you. Take care.